Hello, I'm Rashada,
I'm Brittany,
and we are.
a women's empowerment. So this is just our introduction, our first show today. So we just want to talk about why we're starting this podcast, and what prompted us to talk to you guys and connect with you guys. So do you want to go first?
We have decided that it's not enough talk about problems in marriages, um, things that's happened in our childhood, as far as sexual assaults, abuse, mental, physical, emotional abuse. We've both experienced some of these things, as well as growing up to be young black women and men. Is not enough people out here willing to speak to us in a positive way to correct the things that's now happening that's wrong.
Right, and all of those things I think we could all say have led to, have been passed down from generation to generation. So those generational curses that, nobody really talks about, nobody really acknowledges that we want to, bring to the table to help people, get past those things and then not pass it on to their kids.
Generational curses is really a bad thing that most people sweep up under the rug because they don't want to address it. They'll rather deal with it at the moment, only at the moment versus before it gets there. And it's a lot of things that happen in black families as well as white families that affects each and every generation that comes up in that family.
Right, I agree. And then with us, younger generations, it's like people are getting younger and younger having kids. So, those things that maybe our grandparents have passed on to our generation, they're now passing on to the younger generations because now that we're younger having kids, our grandparents and older people are raising our kids now.
Right.
So, it's something that really needs to be, brought to the table, really make people think like, is this really affecting me? How can I change these things? What can I do so that I don't pass it on to my kids? What can I do to end that generational curse with me?
Which I can admit, I was 15 when I had my first child, and I prayed and I pushed to not allow my kids to be my age raising kids because it was a hard thing to do. I did it, and I think I did it well because they're very respectable young. I have four boys, and they're
Mm-hmm.
really respectable kids, but I didn't want to see them children raising children, so they all were so far over the age of 20 when they had their first kids. So that's a blessing. That was a curse that I just didn't want to carry on in my
Right.
life with my kids, and I'm praying they can do the same thing.
Right. And while I'm young, I'm 25, I don't have any kids, but I've seen some things from my parents that I didn't necessarily want to pass on to my kids when I do have kids. Like divorce, that's one big thing that I do not want to pass on to my kids. I definitely want to raise my kids in a two-parent household because I know how it affected me and my sister and my brother. So that's definitely one thing. And another big thing that I push for is not living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
How can we as young African American or white whatever, how can we set a foundation for our kids now while we're young so that they don't have to struggle, so that we don't have to go through the things that we've seen our parents go through and our grandparents go through, in that struggling. So
We also have to be mindful to teach our kids that everything is not just given. They have to also work for some of the things that they have because
yes.
I see a lot of young people buying shoes, Jordans,
Yes.
and Jordan himself is rich. What
Yeah.
about us? And we're so busy trying to make our kids look good. What about their futures? Why not take that money and build an account for that child to go to college
Right.
or to have something to live off of when they get old enough when you can't take care of them financially? The amount of money you're spending on shoes every time a pair come out, which is every week, is money you can put into account for a car when they turn a certain age to be able to
Exactly.
carry you around when you get older. And I say
Exactly.
that because I'm 42 years old. My kids, I taught them at the age of 12 and 13 to cut grass, to pick
Mm-hmm.
cans up, to do things like that to make money. And they so far have been stable enough to keep what they've had in life. They have a little stumbles, but
Mm-hmm.
they're pushing forward to do what they have to do because I didn't teach them everything was given. And I
Right.
don't ever want to make a man feel like it's okay for mommy and a woman to give, which I can say I'm a different breed because my mother took care of everything as far as being a woman. She worked on cars, she worked on a house, she plumbing, she did everything. So she more or less taught me how to be a man,
Mm-hmm.
for say,
Right.
than to be just a dependable woman that depends on a man. So, and I kind of hate that to be honest
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know how to be just a woman, and that
Right.
affects my marriage now because
Mm-hmm.
I'm so busy being the woman and the man sometimes that I don't know how to kind of separate the two.
Right. And I want to touch on two things that you said. The first thing was that I want to touch on about giving your kids everything and acting like life is given to them on a silver platter. That is something so big nowadays. Because like you said, everybody's out buying Jordans. They're out doing this, and it's funny because I just seen this video on Facebook a couple weeks back. How this girl, she gave her boyfriend or
Mm-hmm.
fiance or something a rental property for his birthday, but he wanted a Cuban link or he wanted
A Rolex watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm just like,
Yes.
so I asked my fiance, I said, babe, what would you do if I gave you a rental property for your birthday? He was like, I would love that. He was
Right.
he was like, that's amazing. You know, that's the type of mindset that we need to teach our generation nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
to stop worrying about the materialistic things. All
Right.
that can be taken away. And to be honest, that materialistic things can come from that rental property. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So the money that you will make, you can buy, I don't know, however many Rolex watches you want. But he didn't have that mindset. And that's that mindset that we need to teach the younger generation nowadays, is to have that mindset to set yourself up not for today, not for tomorrow, but years
A
down the
lifetime.
line.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And she, being the young lady that she was, to even step out and do this for him, she should have kind of saw the signs that he wasn't ready to be a man
Right.
just yet. And it's hurtful to see our people, our men,
Mm-hmm.
sit back and play the video game and kick their feet up while we're going to work, working 10 and 12 hours a day,
Right.
and coming home and cooking and cleaning and sexting and doing all these things while
Right.
he's playing the video games or out with his homeboys or he's in the club doing his thing, getting drunk and high and coming home,
Mhm.
but he's not being a man.
Right.
And a lot of
Exactly.
men are not taught how to be that, because I say this generation is not taught to be a man, because we, and I'm guilty somewhat, because we say so much, I don't need a man.
Exactly.
I'm independent.
Yes.
I don't need your money. I don't need this. And when in reality, we really do,
Mm-hmm.
because we're allowing them to not have to be responsible to be men because we're being men.
Right.
So we have to sit back a little bit and see what a man is going to do. And I tell my husband all the time, I push you so hard because I know you're a great caliber of a man. You're a high-powered man, and I want to build your mind to be that man, along with building you as a person to be that man.
Right.
So I stay on his back a lot. He always said, "Well, baby, you always fussing." It's because I see so much potential, and I know he can do this. He owns his own business. He's trying to move forward into a lot of other financial things.
Mm-hmm.
But before me, he was so content and settled because no one pushed him to do that.
Yeah.
So
And that was the other thing that I was going to touch on, that you said, like us as women being raised to handle everything, because, you know, like I said, with divorce or, you know, parents splitting, you know, the child's pretty much always left to the mother. So the mother has to take care of everything. So it's like what we see as our mother doing, our mother is taking care of everything, you know. In my situation, you know, I lived with my mother when my parents divorced, but my dad was still always there. He
Right.
always took care of us, like, you know, sent us money, was always there for, you know, our extracurricular activities and everything else. But what you hear a lot, you don't hear that.
no.
So the mother has to become the mother and the father. And so we have to not only break that generational curse, but we have to learn as women to learn to let our men lead. You know,
Right.
let them step forward and say, "Hey, babe, I got this." You know,
And trust that they have it.
exactly, because that's the hardest part. Is, you know, they don't always see what we see all the time, so we're just like, you know, you
But it's
should
a
do
way to
that.
get them to see it without making them just forcefully see it. It's your words.
Exactly.
And women, our words can be somewhat torturous. We can be
But not
serious.
to us, though, to them,
To
right.
them. So you have to kind of baby talk that thing into them and kind of make them see your side as well as their side.
Right.
Because if they don't feel like they're being a man, you got a problem.
Right. And I just started reading this book recently because we're kind of going through the similar thing where, you know, I'm pushing him not because I'm just like, you know, go, but because
That's
I
what
know,
you see in him.
Right, exactly. And so, but like you said, it's how we come off as women, you know, and then especially coming from a household from divorce, I have to learn to step back and say, okay, you know, I have to trust that he has this.
She has to learn, because I'm married too, we have to learn our men love language. You have to sit
Right,
back and look at how a man was raised, for one. You have to look at how a man, as he came up, how he treated women, how he treats his kids, his daughters especially. and learn his love language. If he doesn't have kids, look at how his mother treats him, how he treats his mother, how he treats his sisters and things like that. It kind of gives you an idea of how you have to approach a man.
Right.
Because if he's used to being one way and you come in and you want to change these things, men can't take change fast. So you have to kind of slow roll him into that change and implement yourself into him as well. So, I'm definitely learning that. I've been married more than once, so I've had a chance to kind of figure out this marriage life, and it's hard. We're not going to give you guys too much today. We're going to give you just enough to want to come back and actually hear us out. We will be taking questions eventually. We'll give you the information on as far as our web pages and how to emails and all these things to come talk to us if you need to. But again, we're here to try to empower not just women, but everyone. No color, race, creed, everyone. We're here to talk and hear it out. Especially what's going on nowadays. People need someone else to talk to that they're not judged. We're not here to judge anybody.
Definitely.
And we're not going to talk about something we haven't experienced. If we haven't experienced, I can't give you an answer. I'm not going to give it to you.
Right.
So,
we're not going to bring it up.
right. But we think that this is going to be a blessing to someone. And we don't care if it's just one person. We want to bless someone with what we're trying to do here today.
Right. We definitely want to let you guys know that you're not alone. You're not alone. Everybody goes through everything, different situations. And it just helps to know that someone else is going through the same thing so you don't feel alone. Right. So definitely just want to reach out to you guys. Just, put a little bug in your ear and help you be able to talk. Because sometimes when you talk through situations with other people that have gone through the same similar situation, it makes you feel a little bit better.
As well as we're going to touch on depression. That's a major thing here where it's ignored. People don't really want to address depression. Every day you get up and you say, I'm okay. And somebody asks you how you're doing. Oh, I'm fine, but you're dying inside. Right. And you feel like maybe I don't need to tell them I'm dying inside. Well, why not? Right. Why not? Why can't I tell you I'm not okay today, but I'm going to be okay? Right. It shouldn't be a problem to address how I feel. But a lot of people are afraid to address because they're afraid to be judged. Right. Because the world is so judgmental. So here is no judgment zone. We're not going to tell you you're wrong in your thoughts. We may give you some advice. We're not going to tell you you're wrong because your thoughts are your thoughts. Your answers are your answers. So, again, we appreciate everyone for coming. Miss Brittany's going to give you guys every ways to get in touch with us. So,
yes, email is a woman, AW empowerment at gmail.com. I'm sorry, awempowerment@gmail.com. Also follow Women's Empowerment on YouTube. And we will be putting up our podcast on other platforms like Spotify, iTunes, and such. So we'll let you know when those are up. All right.
Thank you guys.
Talk to you later.